Hi everyone, it's Sarah from Pottery and I'm here today to show you how to do the bubble effect. This is the tile that I'll be making today. It's fully glazed now and you can see it's got some nice little bubbles on it. And if you're interested, then you can use a plain piece of pottery. I'm just going to be using a plain tile today. Some washing up liquid in a cup with some water, a straw with a sponge and a bowl with some clean water in it, and of course your paint. So today I'm going to be using a light pink and a darker blue, but you can use any two colours you like, or even just one colour on a plain piece of pottery. So if you're interested in doing the bubble effect, just follow along. Thanks, bye. Today I'm just going to be using a small tile. Basically, first thing you do is take your sponge, clean down your tile with a bit of water to make sure that removes any dust. Then I'm going to pop some of the lighter colour, so in my case I'm going to be using pink. Pop a little into my mixing palette, then use the same sponge to give a nice even application of colour to the tile. So using a sponge really will give you the most even background colour, so if you want to do an overall colour, then I would recommend doing this rather than using a brush. Okay, so you can see that this has given me kind of a little bit of a spongy effect where there's some thicker bits and some thinner bits. I quite like that, so I'm going to leave it like that for now. If you prefer something very, very even, then I would suggest going in with a second or maybe a third background base layer, and that will give you the most even background. Next thing to do is take your cup with a little bit of water in it and add in just a bit of washing up liquid, not too much. You take your straw and you can just mix it together a little, and then I'm going to take the darker colour, so in this case I'm using blue, and I'm going to add it directly into the water and washing up liquid mixture. So use a good dollop and then you just gently mix it. Now if you're doing it with kids, they're going to want to really stir it really quickly, and that's going to make a bit, in my opinion, a bit of a bubbly mess. But you know, I mean, they can do what they want. And then use the other end of the straw to blow bubbles. Once the bubbles have got like really, really high, so you can see they're quite over the edge of the cup, I'm gonna then put the pottery to the cup and allow those bubbles to go onto the pot and just break down. You can, if you're a little bit impatient, you can break them down yourselves. Now, I think I need a little bit more paint in this, because you should ideally be able to see the paint come up onto the bubbles themselves. So I'd add a little bit more, stir it again, and you can see there that there's a bit of colour coming through. Whoa. So there we go. I'm just going to leave that for a second for those bubbles to the paint in the bubbles to soak into the pottery just a little. Just start helping them on their way. It's quite a fun little moment to calmly pop away your bubbles. As you start to pop them away, you'll see that the bubbles start on the base on the pottery will start to get bigger and bigger because of the surface area tension and stuff. So then I just leave them to kind of dry off themselves, and that'll give you the most bubbly effect. And then I'm just going to use a few more bubbles. You do get this dripping. Can you see on the on my work surface here? I've got a bit of drips now. So to avoid that, I would just yeah, keep your pot away from the pottery. Don't let it sit over your pottery, otherwise you get lots of drips like this, and it depends what effect you want, but I prefer it looking like quite clean and bubbly. I'll just take these ones, show some fresh bubbles. Maybe do the other side little. And the paint is essentially just dripping through the bubbles, so that's why when I blew those bubbles quite early and I didn't use them, the paint started dripping through. It's not a massive problem. The paints that are used in pottery painting is actually a completely washable and non-toxic. They won't cause any trouble, they won't harm any surfaces. You know, obviously if you leave water on any surface, it's going to cause some problems, but yeah, you can just simply wipe it up with a bit of kitchen towel, tidy up properly at the end, and but in that time you can see we've got some quite cool little bubbles there, which is quite nice. I like the darker colour on top of the light colour, and obviously you can use more than one colour. You could use a nice, you know, black's quite a strong colour, but in this bubbly technique it's not so strong, so that's quite a nice contrast. If you try and use a darker colour over a lighter one, then that's may not show up as well as you would like, but give it a go. I mean, it's your pottery, you try what you like. I just prefer using light colours first, followed by the darker colours. It just seems to work better for me. And obviously you don't even have to use a background colour. You can do this onto a plain piece of pottery and that'll show a really big contrast in colours. There we go. So this is what I've ended up with. I think that's pretty good example. You can see you've got the little sea foamy kind of effect. And yeah, I really love this. It's very simple. It keeps the kids entertained because they'll want to be keeping the bubbles going for ages. And yeah, it's really nice once it's fired. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Bye.